Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Thursday. This is Game Day Live, coming to you live from Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia, 1526 Packer Avenue. I'm your host, Sam Wu, on location in Philadelphia. Ugh. And coming from Chicago, beaming him in, his name is Vinnie Parise, Pucks and Pitchforks blog editor-in-chief, on opening night of the season for your New Jersey Devils and Philadelphia Flyers. I don't want to get my butt kicked in, Vinny, but welcome as we're coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios here at Chickies and Pete's. Like I said, it's a happening place. We got Flyer fans, Devils fans, a lot of Phillies fans in terms of the Philadelphia Phillies. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Vinny, how are you, my friend?
I am doing great, Sam. It is so wonderful to be back. The New Jersey Devils are back, baby. We are ready for a big season with big expectations. There were big moves made all off season long. They got new forwards added to the core. They got some new defensemen that they made some big trades for. They got a goaltender to help Mackenzie Blackwood out with the workload this season. It has been a fantastic summer. I am very much looking forward to this New Jersey Devils team this season. I'm always optimistic going into the year, but when you add players like Andre Palat, who has championship pedigree, you add a player like Eric Holla, who has played deep into the playoffs in his career before. You add Vitek Vanacek, who comes from an organization in the Washington Capitals that has done nothing but win in the last 10 years. It is so exciting. I can't wait. You even make a big trade for a guy like John Marino, and even though he might be more on the depth side of things, you came from the Pittsburgh Penguins, who know how to draft and develop anyone as good as there is in the league, and I'm so excited to have this crew of guys join the young team that has been built by Tom Fitzgerald with Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt and Yegor Sharangovich. Another year of Dougie Hamilton. Mackenzie Blackwood looks great. It's a fun time to be a fan of this team right now.
Absolutely. A lot of things to be excited about, a lot of things to be concerned about. Nico Hischier, I had Bill Meltzer, PhiladelphiaFlyers.com, and Flyers alumni content guy. He says there's no problems with Nico Hischier. When we talk about injury prone, as what he said, we're talking about reoccurring chronic injuries. We're not talking about freak accidents. We're not talking about little things. And, well, he had a freak accident with the puck in the face. The little thing, the hamstring, which I think Nico is going to be back day to day. Don't need to rush him. Have him for the home fans instead of down in Philadelphia. I'm all for that. Yes, I want the captain back, but as what he said, take care of it now so it doesn't linger for the rest of the season, 78, 80 games. Take care of it now, and it's not going to be a problem.
There's no reason to rush Nico Hischier back. It's game 81. It's on the road. You're playing against the Philadelphia Flyers team who, again, opening night is weird. We've seen some weird games already so far in this NHL season. Teams that are worse than the team that they played getting wins because defense feels optional always in the first week of the season. So anything can happen in this game today. But the Flyers are projected to be a lesser team than the Devils so far this season. If you're Nico, if you're a fan of the Devils, the words that came out of Nico's mouth today are, I didn't want, my body told me I'm not ready. And that's a great thing. A lot of athletes lie, and I could play, and then they deal with the injuries all season long. If getting a couple extra skates in before Saturday's game is what will help Nico Hischier play in 70-plus games this season, I'm all for it. Hopefully the boys are able to take care of business in his absence tonight.
Absolutely. Hey, Vinny, I got a special guest coming. We didn't even announce this. So why don't you tell people about where we're going to be on Saturday, because there's a lot of hype, and so far, Chico Resch has confirmed. There may be a certain reporter that everybody likes right now that's coming. Who could it be? We're not going to say. But why don't you talk a little bit about that? I'll get our next guest.
Yeah, so while Sam Wu is getting the next guest for the Let's Go Devils podcast on today's show, which, guys, when you find out who it is, You're just going to be extremely excited. It's somebody that we've all looked up to in our lives, and hint, hint, we've heard their voice on our Xboxes and PlayStations before in the past. So that's a little hint, hint right there, right now, coming at you from Chickies and Pete's in Philadelphia, while the New Jersey Devils are getting ready to take on the Philadelphia Flyers on Saturday. I highly, highly encourage everybody to head on over to American Whiskey, which is just outside the Prudential Center. We're going to be live at 6 p.m. Eastern time. You could come in before, take pictures with Sam Wu, meet all the people that are going to be there as guests. We got some big time people showing up as guests, as Sam Wu alluded to. I'll be beamed in from Chicago. I'm very excited to be a part of the whole thing. All of that is taking place at American Whiskey on Saturday, October 15th. That's a game where the New Jersey Devils are going to open their season with the home opener. It's got big plans from what I'm hearing from the production team and how they're going to have a little ceremony before the game introducing the team. This is the 40th anniversary of the New Jersey Devils, people. This is an exciting year. They're going into this season believing they can do, I don't know about do the thing. You know what I mean by do the thing. That might take some time, but this is going to be a year where they take a big step. You got Jack Hughes. You got Nico Hischier. Jesper Bratt had a breakout year last year. I think everybody believes that Yegor Sharangovich can be a 30-goal scorer if he continues to just rifle the puck on the net like he has been doing since the second half of last year started. And it actually looks like Sam Wu is back and ready to go. Sam, what do you got for us?
I'm ready to rumble. I'm telling you, I am ready to rumble. But here's the problem. My mic's not working.
Your mic's not working, but we can hear you slightly.
Yeah, hold on a second.
So while Sam Wu figures out his
Wrong
microphone,
headset. Can you believe that?
Headset.
The wrong headset. After all that, we had a power outage, everything, and we're bringing on our next guest, great friend of the podcast. Honored to have him on. He's loved in Philadelphia. He's loved all North America, and now going to the Hockey Hall of Fame in November. Please welcome to the program again, Bill Clement. Bill, how are you, my friend?
Everything is great. Remind me when we have more time to tell you the story about Doc Emmerich and I getting our headsets mixed up on the air. He had mine on. I had his on. It was a mess, a complete mess on ESPN. So for another time. So I feel for you, Sam. I feel for you.
Well, right now I'm in Philadelphia, South Philadelphia. You know, Chickies and Pete's, you did so many radio shows here for WBCB. I'm on the catwalk. I'm actually literally on the catwalk right now. I'm looking down at all the Flyer fans. This is my last line of protection, Bill. But
is that when you're supposed to come with the line? This is when we come with the line about shaking your little tush on the catwalk, right?
Yeah.
Right. Hey, guess what? I miss Philly. I'm loving the mountains in North Carolina, especially in the fall. But two of the things I miss the most, my pregame meal before every radio show at Chickies and Pete's, crab fries and mini lobster tails. Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah, the mini lobster tails. Vinnie, let me tell you something about – we talk about food here on this podcast, Game Day Live, and we like beef. I'll tell you what, their burgers here at Chickies is just pretty beefy, like the Devils' defense. But anyway.
Well, guess what? The Devils better have a beefy defense because they have a lot of miniatures up front.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt. Doesn't spell beef. Spells.
You know what though? Every team. I look at the Flyers lineup, and they got players that could be bigger. I will tell you, I am a huge Andre Palat fan.
Really?
Huge. Oh my gosh, yes.
Wow. And why is that?
He's a great player. He's really good defensively. He's a playmaker in clutch situations. He sees the ice really well. He competes hard. I mean, there were times, I remember when Dave Hackstall was coaching the Flyers and the Flyers would play against Tampa Bay, and I'd say, well, what are you going to do about Kucherov? And he said, I'm not so sure that he's their key player right now. Andre Palat is the guy we got to focus on. Wow. So now he's the real deal. That's a really good acquisition by the Devils.
Wow.
Absolutely, Bill. My name is Vinnie. It's very nice to meet you and talk to you on the phone here. First of all, thank you so much for coming on our show today.
Oh, it's the last time I'll ever do it, Vinny, so enjoy it, okay? Only kidding. Only kidding.
I appreciate that's really funny. I'm like, whoa. So, Bill, you were just inducted into the Hall of Fame. That had to be an incredible feeling when you got that call. What was your initial reaction?
That they had the wrong number. The induction actually is happening on November the 14th up in Toronto. And I've got a lot of family and friends coming, but it was, I didn't know how to react. I had never thought of it in my career. And when I retired, I never thought of it. And Chuck Caton, a long-time radio superstar in the NHL for Hartford Whalers and the Carolina Hurricanes, called me because he's head of the induction committee, and he told me, and I went, what? So it's I guess it's kind of like the period at the end of the sentence being my broadcasting career. I always felt that I worked for the fans and they were my constituents. I got into trouble more than once with my bosses for things that I did on the air, but I was more concerned with making sure that our group brought a great product to the fans. So it was a great honor, just a great honor.
Little off topic. Sorry, Benny. A little off topic question though. Did you get in trouble with the John Wayne impression years ago?
Okay, so you're talking about Easter Eve, 1987, Game 7, Islanders, Washington Capitals in Washington, went to 4 overtimes. We had no pre-produced packages. We had no interviews. We had nothing. So, Doc, we decided to try to communicate to the people how special, how bizarre, how unique the situation was. So I took off my shirt, during one of the intermissions because we had to do a bunch more. And Doc started leading me to a lot of different impressions because I was a class clown and I did everything from, John Wayne to Boom Boom Jeffrey on to East Indian soothsayer. And we finished the show. And the next day, the VP of remote programming, Steve Bornstein, killed us in USA Today in Rudy Marsky's TV column. He just killed us. And the next day, Doc and I each got a bottle of Dom Perignon from ESPN's president, Bill Grimes. So we left nobody in a neutral position, and we stepped out on the ledge, and it didn't end our careers. So it's all right.
That's hilarious, Bill. So I'm wondering, we're getting ready here to do this Devils Flyers game, and you obviously called a lot of rivalry games throughout your career. Did you as a broadcaster feel just a little bit different going into a rivalry game than you did against two teams that didn't really have much history or anything like that? Like, did you feel it in the press box as much as maybe the fans or the players did?
Oh, sure. It was special, and my adrenaline flow as a broadcaster was like going into a big game as a player, because you knew the stakes were high. You also knew that there was a chance that things were going to combust in front of your eyes on the ice, like Detroit and Colorado many times, Devils Flyers. So yeah, no, it was really special, and I think, you didn't have to work as hard to prepare for the big rivalry games because the storylines were about to jump out of the cake right in front of you on the ice. The games that were, for lack of a better term, meaningless, although no game is meaningless to a certain fan base, but like a ho-hum game, that's when a professional broadcaster has to work really hard to prepare. Because our job is to make the games interesting, to capture the action, the activity, the things that are of interest to the respective fan bases. So the rivalry games are easy, always.
Very interesting.
So you're saying that the Ducks Devils 2003 Stanley Cup Finals was so boring that
my God. I still have nightmares about that series. That that was hockey at its worst, and not just the Devils and the Ducks, but because it was the Trap and and Lemaire Babcock, and I remember at the end of the first period of one of the games in Anaheim, and it's a long row of broadcast booths up high, hanging from the ceiling, and we all walked out. Brian Hayward doing games, and all the Canadian guys, and I stuck my head out the door and I stepped out, and I looked up to the right, then to the left, and everybody said, "What the hell was that?" No, it really, no, for fan bases, it was great, but those were the worst times for hockey. Once they took the red line out, changed the rules, everything got better, but that was a dark time, I think.
But it did get better after the.
Oh, it got way better. And you know what? It had to get that bad for change to happen. There was a lockout, cost certainty happened, so the salary cap came in. There were so many changes that were positive. Gary Bettman is always the smartest guy in the room. Everybody's told me that. Lawyers that had negotiated against him before he even came to the NHL. You left the room saying he's the smartest guy in the room. And the sport is way better because of the changes.
Yeah.
Were you surprised, Bill, that a loser or a player on the losing team won the Conn Smythe that year? Because I think that kind of goes into your theory that it was just like a bad time for hockey. Like a player on the losing team was deemed the best player in the series.
Who the hell won it? J.S. Giguère?
Yeah.
J.S. Giguère won the Conn Smythe Trophy in 2003.
Yeah, it's usually a goalie, right? Ron Hextall did that in 1987. So that doesn't happen very often. And it's usually a goalie. So am I surprised at stuff like that? The Devils were the ultimate composite group of team first guys. So there was nobody that really stood out. Well, by the way, the guy that never gets enough credit for his career is Patrick Elias. I think he was, for many years, one of the 10 best forwards in the NHL. But the Devils never had anybody that really grabbed the headlines, and that was what was supposed to happen with the Devils, right?
Yeah.
So, things like that don't surprise me, depending on the team. If they had a central figure that led them offensively, and that was who ended up winning the Stanley Cup for them, I would have said, yeah, I was surprised about a goalie winning on the other team, but not in this case.
Yeah. Well, Bill, thank you for stopping by Game Day Live, our Let's Go Devils podcast celebration of the season. And congratulations once again, my friend, on that honor.
Thank you.
And nobody deserves it more than you. I know all the stories behind the scenes and all that, but there are a lot of fans in North America know you from the ESPN days, the Prism days, but the EA Sports days, and that transcends a long time, and that's just says a lot of what you've accomplished throughout your career.
Sam, thanks a lot, but you got to leave out the Prism reference because that's PRISM. It sounds like I was in prison. PRISON. So, hey, go Devils, but just not tonight, okay?
Okay. All right. All right.
All right, boys.
Thanks, Bill.
See ya.
Thank you, Bill.
Bye. See ya, Vinnie.
That is Bill Clement, good friend of the podcast, stopping in, checking up, making sure that nobody's killed me yet in Philadelphia. It's always nice to have our friends call us in the middle of a podcast. We call them.
Yeah, so that was actually my first time talking to Bill Clement, and man, he was on NHL video games from the time I started playing until just a couple years ago. So that was honestly really interesting to hear some of those stories. And it's funny. He goes, who the hell won it? When he talking about the Conn Smythe Trophy in 2003, like, oh, I forgot that's how boring it was for him to do that series, the Stanley Cup final, that he didn't even remember who won the Conn Smythe Trophy. I love stories like that.
But anyway, we got a game to play tonight, Vinny. We got a lot of people on Mike Rossi on the Facebook Live Durango Steve, I'm glad you're watching. Feel better, my friend. It's so good that you're watching this fine programming called Game Day Live. By the way, it's Taylor ham, not pork roll. Also, Nick Gallows says, can't wait to not hear about the dumpster catfish anymore. I don't know what he's talking about, but we will be at American Whiskey on Saturday.
I think
a lot of mystery guests coming in.
I think he's disrespecting your catfish. I think he's saying it's not good. The one that you used to enjoy at Taj Lounge 973.
Yeah, well, you know what? I like the Taylor hamburger myself at American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place, across the street from Prudential Center, next to Championship Plaza, across the street also from Devil's Den, if you want to get more specific. We'll be there. We'll be there live. We're having a good time here at Chickies and Pete's, 1526 Packer Avenue. We're going to be also here live, Devil's After Dark. It's going to be a late night for me, Vinnie. And it gets dark here in Philadelphia. And I don't know who's going to win or lose, but I think we should start getting to the predictions very soon, because I think the Devils right now, they look good during preseason. But John Tortorella, Philadelphia Flyers, I had Bill Meltzer on earlier today, Game Day Live, kind of a preview of a preview. And it's a team that's going to need to grind it out every night. And there's a coach that can actually get that done and get every ounce out of his players, whether they're injured or not. It's probably John Tortorella. So I don't think this is going to be really such a game that is automatic, like the Devils are going to win. I mean, they're without their captain, yeah, but I still think they can win. But you know what? I don't know.
The lineup officially came out without Nico Hischier. Do you want me to read it really quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the top line, Eric Halla is going to move up and take Nico Hischier's spot as the top line center, and he will have Yegor Sharangovich and Jesper Bratt on his wings. And then the second line, as expected, is Andre Palat on the left wing of Jack Hughes with Dawson Mercer on the right. And then the third line, instead of having Halla in the middle, we'll have Boquist in the middle, and Holtz and Tatar will be his wingers. So Holtz's season debut will come with a skilled player like Boquist in the middle, which is really nice. And then we know that Tatar can score lots of goals. And then I really like this fourth line of Miles Wood, Michael McLeod, and Nathan Bastian. The WBM line, the BMW line, that's what we called it. I couldn't remember the letters in order. But yeah, it's definitely got some beef. It's got some skill. There's definitely a lot of speed that can be on that line. So I really think that the Devils, even without Hischier, have a nice looking forward group tonight. Siegenthaler with Hamilton, that's a really nice top pairing, because Hamilton's kind of a riverboat gambler when it comes to playing offensive defense. And then Siegenthaler is a stalwart back there. And then Graves with Marino, Ryan Graves, John Marino, second pairing. And then Brendan Smith gets the start as the sixth defenseman next to Damon Severson. So Kevin Ball's going to have to wait to play, but because he was called up in place of Simone Nemec a couple days ago. That was a paper transaction of Nemec even making the team at all clearly. But that's the defense. And then Blackwood gets the start in net with Vanacek backing him up. So you would assume that Vanacek makes his first Devils start on Saturday at home in the home opener.
Wow. And before we begin with our BetStamp app predictions, BetStamp, new sponsor of Game Day Live and Devils After Dark. But before we get to that, any news on the Gary Bettman presser over at Philadelphia? Ryan Novozinski at NJ.com stopped by earlier. He would have stayed, maybe possibly come on the podcast, but what happened was he had to go to the presser. Anything extraordinary out of that presser? I mean, it started at 6 p.m.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at Elliot Friedman's Twitter right now, and he doesn't have anything. And when I go to Novo's Twitter account, it doesn't look like he has tweeted anything that is not New Jersey Devils related anyway. So I'm not too sure about any of the happenings from that little presser there from Gary Bettman. All of Novo's stuff is stuff about the Devils, Hall up taking Hischier's spot and stuff like that, Blackwood in the starters net. So yeah, don't know anything that came out of that as of yet.
Okay. Well, we'll probably talk about it at Devils After Dark. All right, get to your BetStamp app predictions. Bet Stamp. That's where you go to look at all the sports books. All the sports books. Sign up all of them, and then bet for your New Jersey Devils and who has the best payout if you win. It's like the Trivago of sports betting. Yeah.
Yes. So using the BetStamp app, I decided that I'm going to make my bet through the DraftKings Sportsbook, and I predict that the New Jersey Devils, I'm going to take them on the puck line, minus 125 over the Philadelphia Flyers, and the final score with that will be 5-2. I thought about taking the Devils or I said puck line. I meant money line. The puck line is like the betting line of the score. I thought about doing that, even though I think the Devils are going to win 5-2. I just went money line instead of puck line just in case. And then for a little bit of a fun side over bet, I have the over 6.0 goals at minus 110 using the DraftKings Sportsbook. Thank you to BetStamp for helping me find these great odds.
Yeah, well, I'm in a different predicament than you, Vinny, because you're sitting in the confines of your own home, right? You're sitting in the confines of your own home. I'm on the road. And I got to make a prediction in front of these folks that probably don't really know that we're really doing a podcast here. But that's okay. That's all right. It's for my protection. But I'm going to go against the grain. Shocking, because I always have to be opposite, do something bold. Because everyone says that my predictions stink. But I'm going to go through the BetStamp app, find that PointsBet has the best puck line or money line or whatever you say. I don't know too much about sports betting, but I bet anyway. The Flyers win 4-2, and they're going to surprise everybody, and hopefully I'm wrong.
So you can either go to the BetStamp app, find your sports book that suits your needs the best, and you can either put your money where your mouth is. Do you agree with Sam or do you agree with Vinny? I know most of you probably agree with me. Go tell Sam why he's wrong and go on the BetStamp app right now. Find your sports book and place your bets through your favorite site today.
Nick Gallo says that's actually one of your better predictions.
No, it's not. That prediction stinks. Join me, guys. You want to join me? Let's go Devils. Let's take those Flyers. You know what? Take them puck line too, because they're going to win 5-2.
Oh boy, I'm just looking on social media right now. How many unfollows I'm probably going to get out of this? But hey, you know what? We're having fun here at Chickies and Pete's. Just warming up for the season. It's a Happy Devils Thursday, but come Saturday, American whiskey, and they're rolling out the red carpet. It's a tradition now with the New Jersey Devils on opening day at Prudential Center. We're right at the corner. Like, we're right there. We're going to have speakers out, weather permitting, big TV out. We're going to have playing music, 60 beers on tap. Beer Baron will be there. Short Sky will be there. Chico Resch is going to stop by, good friend of the podcast, also mystery guest as well. We're working on it. You just don't know who's going to show up at our podcast. You have no idea who's going to show up. American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place, across the street from Prudential Center next to Championship Plaza. Come see us. Vinny, it was a pleasure today. It was an honor. And special thank you to future Hall of Famer by next month, good friend of the podcast, Bill Clement, calling us, goofing around, telling us good stories. That's what it's all about.
Really quick, before we do sign off, I want to say thank you, first of all, for having me. This is my absolute pleasure. I'm so happy to be back for another season of New Jersey Devils hockey. Let's go get a big win on the road against the Flyers. I know that the first episode of Game Day Live in the 2022-23 season went a heck of a lot better than it did at the first episode of the 2021-22 season, where all the cameras got broken by the bartender.
Yes. And so far, that camera behind me hasn't fallen off the catwalk yet. And that camera over there, well, we seriously had a power outage. Literally when we were just about to go on air, and right now we're running on batteries or whatever, But also want to thank Chickies and Pete's, Joe Carpinella, Felix, Brianna, for having us here. It's not easy making the decision of having the opposing team fans do a podcast at this sports bar, 30,000 square foot facility at 1526 Packer Avenue in South Philadelphia. If you ever come down here, go to Chickies and Pete's. It's actually a fun experience. Bill Clement said it's the mini lobster tails and the crab fries. Got to try it. Whole variety of stuff. Vinnie, thank you. Devils After Dark, after the game, Scotty of Sirius XM, Liquid Metal, and I will recap the game that was. And enjoy, everybody. We're going to be out of here in just a second. Uh-oh. I did that wrong. Whoops. Hold on a sec.
It's game one for us too, people.
Yeah. We're still in preseason mode, but after we close the podcast, we'll be just fine. Thank you. Keep it here. Until next time, let's go Devils.